Eric, come on stage now. Come on, Brooklyn. When I was a teenager, I realized my true identity, who I was a clown. I remember watching a Charlie Chaplin movie on TV, and bad guys chased him into the bathroom, and he hid in one of the stalls. And suddenly the stall door bangs open, and out he comes, and he's doing this crazy dance in his underwear. And I thought, you know what? That's me. In my junior year of high school, I found out that the Barnum and Bailey Circus, every winter while their circus was wintering in Lantana, Florida, they had a program, an 11-week program that they called Clown College. And I thought, well, that's the place for me. And I got an application. I didn't tell my father. And you had to audition. They had auditions, cities all over the country, including Providence, Rhode Island, which is my hometown. So that was great. And the only catch was, now I needed to ask my father for a ride to the Providence Civic Center. My father was a professor of engineering at Brown University. A brilliant man, big bald head, often wrinkled in thought, and he had grown up a poor immigrant family in Brooklyn during the Depression, sometimes only a few potatoes to eat. And now I say, hey, Dad, can I get a ride to the Civic Center tomorrow because I'm applying to Clown College? So he said, Clown College? Since when do you want to be a clown? And what makes you think you could get into such a place? You have no discernible clown skills. But all right, I'll take you. And he drove me the next day. He said he'd wait. And I go into the Civic Center, big empty arena, about 20 people auditioning, dressed as clowns, a few people, with notepads, and one actual Barnum and Bailey clown just sitting there in the full regalia. And he gets up, he says, all right, we're gonna play Follow the Leader, everybody line up. And he starts doing silly walks, and we're all following him. I'm having a great time, and then he starts doing cartwheels. And everyone who's auditioning can do a cartwheel. I've never even tried to do a cartwheel. So I just go like this. We all had to do a solo. Each clown would step forward and he'd say, be a truck, be a flower. And for me, he said, be a hot dog. My last name is Wiener. I'd been hearing that for a long time, and I said, eat me. So that was it. They said they'd be in touch by mail. That summer, I was home alone one day. It was pouring outside. I remember dark with rain. I hear clunk, which is the mail slot, and I go running down, and there's a letter from me with the Barnum and Bailey logo, postmarked Lantana, Florida, and it was thin, but I opened it up, and it says, Dear Eric, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted. And I just opened the front door. I went out into the pouring rain, and I ran down Tabor Avenue with this letter going, I got it! That night, my father came home from work. He said, I heard him greeting my mother in the kitchen, and then her whispering and silence. When he came out, he said, let's talk upstairs. And he said, well, Eric, obviously, you're not dropping out of high school to go to Clown College. And I said, well, obviously I am. And we argued. And then he starts telling me about a brother that he had never told me about before, who he said this brother dropped out of high school because he wanted to be a novelist. And he didn't have a high school degree, so he couldn't even get a job as a cashier in the supermarket. He was the bagger, Eric. He just had to put the food in the bags. Now, is that what you want to do with your life? And I said, Dad, I honestly believe that if I follow my heart, I'm going to be happy whether I make it or not. And my father turned bright red, and he said, horseshit. And he jumped up, and he chased me, and I locked myself in the guest room bathroom, and he was banging on the door, and when he finally went away, I was starting to cry, and I thought, okay, you know what? I won't go to Clown College. I'll be miserable my whole life. And guess what, Dad? That's going to be your fault. And that's the plan that I stuck to. I did not go to clown college. And all my life, I've told people this story about how my father wrecked my dream. And I leave out a little part because it doesn't fit with that grudge, which is about 20 minutes later, he came back to the bathroom, and now he was crying. And he said, "I'm sorry. Sorry I yelled. Please open up." I didn't even answer him. So, if I could time travel back to that bathroom, what I'd like to say to my younger self is, "Hey, come on now, buddy. Your father's saying he's sorry and he's crying. So it's time to open up the door and forgive him. And then we're going to Clown College!" Thank you very much.